Hi, I wanted to say something about narcissistic abuse. Um, and I just wanted to say that it's really not something that you can fully understand and appreciate until you've actually experienced it yourself. You can read about it, you can study it, you can do all those things to get to know it at an intellectual level. But until you've had that experience and you've been through all of the feelings that come up and you've actually got in and experienced what it feels like in your body, or you've been in it, you've been in that relational dynamic, you really don't know what it's like. And it's something that is quite subtle and quite insidious. It's not something that you immediately know or understand is happening. And this is because of the way human beings are wired. We're wired for connection. We're wired to be with others, many of us to look to really nurture and care for others. And, many of us have this very strongly. And, for various reasons. Sometimes it might be because, caring for other people without considering our own needs was something that we needed to do in order to stay safe when we were children. And so this imprint of needing to do things for other people at the expense of our own needs in order to stay safe, in order to be loved, in order to be looked after, this imprint stays with us. And I'm not saying this is the only reason people get into relationships with people who have narcissistic tendencies, but this is a very common one, and it could be very unconscious also, because nurturing and looking after people is seen as a very good thing to do. And oh my goodness, it is. But when it's at the expense of you nurturing and looking after yourself, then it absolutely is. And the other thing I want to say about that too is in dealing with or realizing that you have been starting to lose yourself in a narcissistic relationship with somebody, in realizing that the first thing that you want to do is to put up a wall and push them away. It's like it's a real anger response that comes up in you, and that is absolutely necessary. That needs to happen, so you can really start to feel your power. That anger that comes up is your power. That's your personal power. That's your my no means no that comes up. And a lot of us are quite uncomfortable with that. And so really getting in touch with that can be an incredible thing, but as you start to recover or start to become aware that you're in an abusive relationship and a narcissistic relationship, the first response is to say fuck you to the other person. And often we can get really stuck in that, and that's absolutely necessary process. It's also quite important to really honor and own that, and also to acknowledge, or I guess to allow ourselves to move through that when we're ready to, and we will when we allow that to happen. Often people can get very stuck in that fuck you stage, for want of a better word. And, that's also a protective mechanism. And that's okay. All of these things are okay. They're also human, and, that's what we are, right? And all of these ways that we behave, that almost become our personality sometimes, are very much our system's way of adapting to what's happening so that we can stay safe. So yes, I just wanted to say that, you know, in a narcissistic relationship, it's quite challenging to get out of and to stay out of. And then once you are staying out of, to actually start to remove or to integrate, to bring in all those parts of you that are keeping you in a sympathetic, angry mode, in that fuck you mode that disconnects you from other people. Oh my goodness, it feels incredible once you start to feel that power. It feels wonderful. It feels like something you've never felt before, because you probably haven't. When you start to feel it, it's unbelievable. And this is a really good sign that you're moving beyond, but it's time to keep going and to find that compassion also, that compassion for yourself first, compassion for yourself first, to fall deeply in love with yourself first. And that, my dear, is the process as well. It's not something you can take a pill and fall in love with yourself. It's a relationship to start to build, and also in time to have compassion for the narcissist, the person who you were in a narcissistic relationship with. But this is very much a process, and you need to be where you're at and just allow things to move through. But yes, I wanted to say also that narcissists are not bad people. They're very wounded people, and the way they behave and the way they are in relationship is not okay and shouldn't be accepted or condoned in any way by the person on the receiving end of it. Absolutely not. At the same time, these people are not bad people. And so just acknowledging their behavior and moving away from it and trying to see them as a wounded individual that, yes, you may not want to have anything to do with again. That may be the right thing. As you start to go within yourself. But as you start to go within yourself, when you hold on to that hatred, that lack of compassion for the other person, when you really hold on to that, it's very much a reflection of what is really deep down inside of you. So just to notice that and acknowledge that is a really, really important thing. I think that's all I wanted to say, but just wanted to, one more thing, just to do with what I started with, which was, you don't really know what a narcissistic relationship is like until you're actually in it. And there are so many subtle and insidious layers to this. You know, it might be a narcissistic relationship with a romantic partner. It might be a friend. It might be a boss. It might be a parent. It might be your child. And all of those have their own nuances and their own aspects that are incredibly painful and, you know, and draw you in so many different ways. So it's so interesting. Often you can feel like you're out of it and you'll never be in it again. But until you really look at some of those deep wounds, and experience them at a somatic level, like really experience their sensations, then it's really quite hard to, yeah, it's really actually impossible to really know what someone's going through. It's not something that you can get over just like that. You end the relationship, you leave, and that's it. There's a dynamic, there's an imprint that is inside you that needs taking a look at, that needs you to take a look at it. And that means going really deep and looking at the imprint that's inside. And it's really important to do that. And often, because of the nature of narcissistic abuse, where you are unsure, you start to question yourself, you start to doubt your own version of reality, you start to not trust yourself. This is the result of a lot of the time of gaslighting of the narcissist. Gaslighting being where they, start to deny that something has even happened, when it has, but it's the way that they deny the story, and then start to get you to rely on them for your version of reality, your version of truth, can really be quite a deep wound. You can still very much doubt yourself. And that can go in lots of different ways, but the thing is to explore it, or to explore your particular version, your particular response, your particular system's response to the behavior, to how you were in that relationship. And it's going to affect every other relationship that you have in your life to some degree. It's so important that you really take a look at some of those really deep wounds. I can speak from my own experience being in a narcissistic relationship 12 years ago. And I've just noticed recently some very deep hooks that were still in me, even though I've very much moved beyond that relationship and have created a very functional parenting relationship with that person, the father of my children. There are very much wounds inside me that affect the way I create relationships with other people now at some very painful levels. So yes, here I am 12 years on from that relationship, taking a look at some wounds that quite honestly were there before I was ever even in that relationship. So all of these things, very interesting things to look at, but to actually, because of the insidious, subtle nature of a lot of these behaviors and the effect they have on you, and the fact that they're very unconscious, the way you respond to them, they are very unconscious. You cannot talk your way out of them. You cannot think your way out of them. It's just not possible. You can reframe and you can, talk things through to some degree, but until you really get down and look at those imprints that are in your body and how it actually feels in your body, and really do that deep work, and with someone who is able to hold that space for you, and is aware of what narcissistic abuse is and what is narcissistic abuse is like, it can be quite difficult to do this successfully on your own. Anyway, I just wanted to say that, it could be quite a challenging thing when you notice those narcissistic tendencies, particularly in your own child. So let me know if this is you, or if any of this resonates, or this is your experience at all. I'm here to talk any of it through with you. I always do a cuppa and a chat with anyone who's interested just 30 minutes, grab a cuppa, have a chat about your situation and how I could possibly support you if that is the right thing. And if it's not, perfectly fine too. But if any of this resonates with you or you feel called to reach out, please do. I'm here. I'll drop a link with this video so that you can reach out and connect and we can have a chat. Anyway, I hope this was useful in some way. Lots of love. Bye-bye.